Alright, we're all at Antietam National Battlefield, and we're trying to do all of these places such as Antietam before we go and make our trip down to North Carolina to move. We're wanting to see all the places where our ancestors were. So we had ancestors that were here that battled at all of the battles with the North Carolina troops, which was quite a number, and we know that his last battle he's part of, what the main ancestor was at Gettysburg, so he was definitely at Antietam, and so we're gonna go check out this battlefield. This observation deck at Antietam. Yeah.
It's like the grass is moving.
There's 100 monuments, battlefield monuments here.
Look,
Wow.
looks like the grass is moving.
Yeah, it does. It is moving. The wind is blowing it. It's beautiful. Wow.
Even though it looks like we're not high up, we are.
We are.
We are high up.
Look at this. And this is the timeline of everything. Right here. Oh, I can't wait.
There's 3 types of fences here. So Lydia, find this page.
One.
Our stone wall.
This says Dunker Church 300 yards is out to that direction. This says Cornfield 0.5 miles this direction. Pennsylvania's 20 miles this way. Then over here it says Muma Farm is that way. Upper Bridge 1.9 miles. South Mountain is 6 miles that way, which we know our ancestor was at as well. Pry House is 1.6 miles this way, which is east. Frederick, Maryland is 18.5 miles that way. Antietam Creek is 1.25 miles this way. Washington, D.C. is 60 miles that way. Sunken Road is 0.25 miles that way. Burnside Bridge is 1.75 miles this way. Sharpsburg is 1 mile that way. Harper's Ferry is 10.5 miles this way. And then this way through the back will be Pack Horse Blackford's Bridge forward 3.5 miles.
We're going to visit the museum to find things pictured below. Are you listening? These things were used by soldiers at the Battle of Antietam almost a century and a half ago. So we're going to draw lines to connect the picture with the word that describes it. So we think that this is a gun, but it's not a gun. We have to go find the word that it is. Okay? And then, what about this?
I think that's a keypad.
See the word drum to drum. Drum, drum. You have to draw a line.
Horsey. 20-pounder parrot shell.
So where's the shell on this paper?
Right there.
Good job. Okay, so here, take your paper. So this is called a shell. So draw a shell to the shell. Line.
momentarily. Our next
All
show.
right.
If you'd like to see this film, please make your way to the theater at this
All
time.
match.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
And then we did the scavenger hunt.
This was a hard one here.
Did we get it right?
Okay. Yeah. Uh-huh.
That it was a big
Right.
version.
A 100%.
Oh, how do you pronounce this?
Kepi.
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 We had a couple versions going around.
All right.
Bob.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Oh, look at that.
You're welcome.
And what is your name?
Lydia, L-Y-D-I-A.
L-Y-D-I-A.
Hello. How are you?
And what's your last name?
First time here?
Hedrick.
Hedrick.
H-E-D-G-E-S.
Hedrick.
Hedrick.
Heavy, isn't it?
Yes. How are you?
Boy, that is heavy. Yep.
During a battle,
You two of you?
50,000 of these would be
Oh,
fired.
I'm sorry. 4 of us.
Solid shot
You don't have any.
Shell. and canister.
$10.
The canister was a tin can filled with 27 metal balls the size of golf balls. When the tin can came out of
been
the
going
gun,
about 3 or 4
it would
minutes now.
disintegrate, it would fall apart, and those 27 metal balls would go every which direction.
What does disintegrate mean?
It means the tin can fell apart, so it broke up. Well, what we just found out as we're coming back to Antietam battlefield today is this is what happens over a weekend. They're parked 3 layers deep in the grass at the visitor center. There's so many people here, it's unbelievable. We came in yesterday and there's nobody here. But this is insane. So we're gonna do our tour, and the good thing is we don't need parking really. We just gotta start our CD up here and then we're out of here. We don't have to get stuck in this like these folks apparently are absolutely stuck. There's no parking, nowhere to go. Crazy. We got this amazing little field guide and CD recording for Antietam.
There's a map, and then there's the auto tour. And it has 11 stops. So the first one we're going to go to the Dunkard Church.
And all you do is you put it in, you buy it at the visitor center, put it in, and then you listen to it starting at the visitor center parking, just like at Gettysburg, and you take off and do the stops just like it says. And we're gonna do that today and just go through Antietam battlefield. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Guys, you guys ready?
Yeah!
So here we go.
It has trivia challenge, and it also has a way one to do when you're with kids and a scavenger hunt, photo scavenger hunt.
So it's well worth the money to get that for this trip. All right, so we are outside the Dunkard Church.
Which is totally amazing.
Yeah, which is the old German Anabaptists, and they their church, even though they're pacifists, were in the middle of the war, and so we're gonna go in and check it out. And of course, this is the church. Across here behind us is the cornfield. So the Northerners were coming this direction, the Union was coming this way, and the Southern Confederates were coming out from behind the building and firing on each other. And this is on day 1 of the war. So this is one of the key places from the war. This is the Dunkard Church. And even though it was destroyed by storms years ago, everything for the most part is original in it. From the time period of the Civil War. They put it all back, including the wood and the walls, the pews, stove, floorboards, all original back in the 1920s. Yeah, but this is where they worshiped Jesus, and yet the war made it into a place where people were killed. So many people died just outside these walls. And this would be the cornfield across from the Dunkard Church. This is where Union troops were coming through, and the Confederate troops came around from behind the church and jumped them. And they said the Union troops came through the cornfields swiftly, and the Confederacy didn't see them coming. And this is where a lot of the major bloodshed was the first morning of Battle of Antietam. After tour stop 1 from the Dunker Church, I want to say this, at Mansfield Avenue, it's way on down past the battle. So you want to turn right a couple good times, it looks like. But as you can see, we're here, and this is way on down. It's past the Miller Farm. You want to drive down that for your tour stop too. So this is
Girls, what kind
still
of
on
fence
down.
is that called? Do you remember they told us yesterday it says zigzag fence?
Zigzag fence, cool. I think this is just a beautiful old farm.
Advances in weapon
See from the rock there, it even dates back to before
it is often
1800s, some of it. Beautiful.
been schooled. It's
Over
like
here,
massing large formulas.
it's the rest of the field, battlefield. Such an
There we
immense
are.
thing. Here we come.
Tour stop 2, park on the left.
Park on the left. We're gonna go. This is tour stop 2, just for folks that are looking for it. All right, here we go. We'll talk more about what happened here in just a minute.
Hooker directed his attack at a little whitewashed building that sat on a low ridge about a mile south of here, the Dunker Church. Between the church and the North Woods stood a 30-acre field of corn waiting to be harvested.
That's behind us.
It belonged to a farmer by the name of David Miller. Some 3 hours later, Miller's cornfield would become immortalized as the bloodiest sector of Hooker's 8,500 men led the way around 6 a.m., converging on the cornfield from 3 directions. Confederate General Stonewall Jackson ordered a series of counterattacks that depleted his reserves, but succeeded in stopping the Union First Corps.
Put it on.
This is the cornfield by Miller's farm. Antietam battlefield is talked about.
There's the cornfield, there's Miller's farm, and we are right here. So the cornfield would be way over there. Malachi, do you understand that map?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a map. Yeah. There's the North Woods, there's the West Woods, and the East Woods. Are you guys wearing your badge from yesterday? Yesterday they got to be Junior Rangers.
But we still
Yay.
am.
Yeah, but you got inducted.
Yay.
What does inducted mean?
It means they said, you know what, you did enough of your packet, we're going to let you be a Junior Ranger.
Okay, now here at the North Woods, I want to go see one more thing that's really exciting to Poppy, because one of my heroes of the faith, girls, one of Poppy's heroes of the faith actually started her work here, and there's a monument for her and the work she did in ministry she did that helped so many people during the Civil War, especially here at Antietam. So you want to go see it?
Yeah.
Right here, let's go.
Okay, it's not buried here.
No, she's not
It's
here.
the memorial.
But this is where Clara Barton is memorialized.
Here's the
Yep.
Red Cross. Did she die on Christmas Day?
Yep.
Oh.
So this was made from a brick from the chimney of the home where Clara Barton was born in North Oxford, Massachusetts on Christmas Day, 1821.
These bricks?
And this is to
She
remember
was
about her.
born on Christmas Day. She didn't die.
Yeah.
Oh.
But this is from the brick that's from her home. Isn't that cool? The cross is. And then this memorializes her. Yep, you guys can sit there. It's really cool.
Oh, that's really cool.
Come here.
Quote, it says, I have been permitted to stand by your loved ones when the trial hour came.
Wow.
What a great... I'll show everyone.
Lydia was excited because she scraped gum off of the Clara Barton Memorial as a junior ranger. And that was a really sweet thing to do.
Better than when we found it.
That's what they said. So good job, sweetie. You did it.
But let's go
Somewhere
wash our
like
hands.
here,
Yeah, for real.
I think we should bring.
And she did everything she could to help her son in their need. And she didn't
What do you want?
care whether they were I want to say one more thing really quickly. So Clara Barton tells a story of one of the men she was helping here, and it's in this vicinity of the North Woods where she heard the artillery sounds and came to help. And it said that she was helping the man, and she felt the bullet come through and graze her and him, and she just kept working with him until she felt him go. And that really was some stuff inside of her life that stuck with her as she started the Red Cross, and just really think that she's an amazing lady, and that in this day and time, I'd be so honored if my little girls became that kind of leader, right?
So you mean
For
like
Jesus.
when she felt the bullet?
She was out.
Both of them? Does that mean like she got a bullet?
Yep, the bullet actually shot through. Yeah, do you want to read it?
So it says, a man lying on the ground asked for a drink. I stooped to give it, and having raised him with my right hand, was holding the cup to his lips with my left, when I felt a sudden twitch of the loose sleeve of my dress. The poor fellow sprang from my hands and fell back quivering in the agonies of death. A ball had passed between my body and the right arm which supported him, cutting through the sleeve and passing through his chest from shoulder to shoulder.
And so he died as she was helping him, and the bullet just barely missed her as it cut through her sleeve. So God literally let her keep on going and helping folks. But yeah, anyway.
And Lydia got a piece of gum off of right there.
Yeah, that's a mortuary cannon. This one's for General Mansfield, and what they say is that if you find a cannon that's sticking up this way in the ground, this is the location where they were mortally wounded, or approximate location. They try to get as closely to the spot as possible, but this is where, yeah, if you see an upside down cannon like that, where one of the generals were mortally wounded. How many did they say were wounded? Six. 3 north and 3 south were wounded on this battlefield. This is off of Cornfield Avenue. All of this was Miller's Farm cornfield, where everybody from Union troops came through before engaging the Confederacy at the Dunker Church. And so the girls are checking out a spot.
There's money in there.
Well, don't put anything in, just you can look at it. There where you would see men put rifles together and wrap them and then cook over it or whatever they needed to do. There you go.
Jackson's line was teetering on the brink of collapse. Drawing on his last reserve division, Jackson ordered John Bell Hood to fill the gap. Ironically, Hood had not started. Jackson had placed him under house arrest after Hood had argued with his superiors over some of the spoils of battle won at 2nd Manassas, several Union ambulances to be exact. To pursue the retreating Federals,
Miller's Farm.
the famed 1st Texas Infantry Regiment charged headlong into the cornfield, ahead of the rest of the brigade. As they approached the northern end of the field, they were greeted with a miserable surprise. 2 Union brought an unmitigated hell on earth. 3 times the Confederates charged the guns, and 3 times they were repulsed, coming to within 10 to 15 feet at points. For his heroism that day,
So Anna found a groundhog and she wants to go chase it. Go.
Here we are here at number 5, the West Woods, the next part of our journey. So, see Delaware over there.
the day's fighting up to this point.
Here.
The battle started at dawn when Hooker's corps attacked the left end. More exposed his left flank became. The troops that were supposed to have supported that flank, French's men, were nowhere to be seen when the Confederate response struck like a sledgehammer. Converging on the West Woods in superior numbers, the Confederates caught the Union division by complete surprise. General Sedgwick had little hope of maneuvering to meet the attack. His division was stacked 3 brigades deep, 6 rows of 1,000. Abraham Lincoln. Although subject to debate, the incident occurred in the spring of 1864, when the president came to inspect the defenses of Washington. Escorting the president around the fort that day was then Colonel Holmes, Jr. When the president peered over the breastworks, Colonel Holmes noticed that Lincoln's distinctive tall hat made a conspicuous target for Confederate sharpshooters.
Wow.
Legend has it, he quickly pulled the president down, reprimanding him with the now famous order, "Get down, you fool." Lincoln, with his characteristic eloquence, later eased the colonel's embarrassment by remarking, "I'm glad to see you know how to talk to a civilian."
My impatient men asked permission to fire. "Not yet," I replied. "Wait for the order." Soon they were so close that we might have seen the eagles on their buttons. But my brave and eager boys still waited for the order.
Oh, hop up. Go.
Water.
You thought there was water? Now what is this again?
What's the name?
The sunken road.
The sunken road. Antietam.
Wow.
So the Confederates were down in the road. And
This is Sunken Road, isn't
on
it?
the roadbed. But over here,
That there is water. It's water.
shh, 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 shh. Come on, buddy. So this whole path here.
Miss Edgar. Oh, that's it.
Yeah, sunken road.
Go catch up with Lydia.
Go down.
Oh, the girls ran too far, so we had to call them back. There's Malachi. Come on!
There's Burnside Bridge, named after General Burnside. It's where the Confederates had taken the top and closed up everything, and then the Union forces came and pushed back and began to funnel through. Of course, Confederate troops were on the other side and totally took control at that point, but this was taken by Union and was allowing them to get over towards the city of Sharpsburg.
Mommy, is it can I stand on the brick wall?
No, please don't.
Okay.
We try to treat things with respect. Anna's doing her junior ranger work.
Side of the bridge, not this side.
That big,
That
gigantic,
top
thick
side.
tree over there, it was here from when the war happened.
That one?
But no,
That one.
down there on the other side of the bridge. You're silly. It was from when the war was happening. It was younger back then, but it's historic. It's still living.
Hey, look, there's like a bullet or something down there. A gigantic one.
Yep, those are all the monuments. So it's closed as being, they're doing construction right now and renovating. Here it is. I just want to add, while we're here, you really have to take time to get out of the car and walk around. Some of these places are so overwhelming. Now for us, it's really significant because we had ancestors here, one of which was Robert M. Hass, and he was all the way to Gettysburg, so he was here, South Mountain, Sharpsburg, just all the different battles coming through with the North Carolina infantry, and he was taken at Gettysburg, which we'll talk about when we're at Gettysburg later. But whether you had family here or not, or whether you're that connected or not, brother turning against brother, this war ensuing, and what it took to bring freedom to all people in America is something that you want to walk around and engage. All right, we're in the next part. We found out that President McKinley, before he was president, was here as an officer, at Burnside Bridge, and that his group fought here. Yeah, William McKinley, President of the United States, was here. He fought here bravely, they just said. Isn't that cool? Let's listen for more. We just heard that McKinley's commanding officer was Rutherford B. Hayes, which was another president. He was here at Burnside Bridge. Isn't that cool? Wow.
Were nearly upon them.
All the guns went off at once. The whole brigade fire seemed to follow our volley. Every man in our line began to load his musket with frenzied haste. We had barely loaded and capped the muskets when the blue line came with a rush, and we fired now without orders. Before we could load a third time, the two lines of battle of the Federals poured a volley into us that settled the matter.
Attempting to control his horse, Ramsey focused his telescope on the first column and surprisingly believed they were flying the United States colors. Lee was unconvinced and asked him,
We finished. We made it through the whole thing. The last stop was the cemetery for the Union dead. And so we were going to look up where the Confederate cemetery was, but we found out they were reinterred in 3 different places, and they're very far away. And so out of the tens of thousands of Confederate soldiers that died at Antietam, as the movie tells, at the space they weren't buried for after over a year later, whenever the Confederates came back through, they saw them in the fields, their bones, and there are pictures of them. And out of the tens of thousands that died that were Confederate, only 2,800 Confederate dead were ever buried at all in the 3 cemeteries, and that's from all of the Maryland battles, including South Mountain and whatnot. So that's that.
Malachi finally fell asleep.
Yay!
And then I guess my favorite thing about this is when we decided to move, we wanted to go hit all the places close to our house. I just looked up. This is only 32 miles from our house. So
Yep, so
really
Thurmont's
cool.
only 32 miles from Antietam. There you go.
Wait, girls, what was your favorite part? The Junior Ranger program?
Maybe a little.
What else did you like today?
Me too. I liked watching the movie yesterday. And
At the museum?
The first part we went to, yep.
and the CD. Chasing the groundhog.
Chasing the groundhog. And then did you guys like running up and down the sunken road?
Yeah. No.
Too much.
I liked doing it, but I didn't like when I got deep. My throat got dry and I could barely breathe.
Okay, do you guys like history? Tell me what you guys were saying about war, just war in general.
It's bad for either side to do that because Christian or no, they shouldn't obey the Bible.
Christians shouldn't fight Christians, right?
The Junior Ranger Lydia.
Christians shouldn't fight Christians. It doesn't make any sense for brothers to fight brothers, and they both called themselves Christians. They both worship the same God. They both read the same Bible, and they went to some of the same kinds of churches, and they fought each other, and we just don't agree with that, do we? So it's so sad. Well, we're going to end up here, but I want to say this. When you go to Antietam, it's well worth the money to make sure you see the video at the beginning, because the kids picked up a lot from it, and we're able to get context, and
It helped make the driving tour make sense, and it was only $10.
yeah, so it makes sense to do it, and that's $10 per family. Yeah, and you can go through the museum and become a Junior Ranger.
And the guide was $22.95, so
So $32 for the whole family event, and you get a lot out of it history-wise.
yep.
Watch this video. No, watch this video.